Ladies and gentlemen, when you make a bed of lies, it's hard to get out of the sinking tar pits. But it's a good thing that AOC doesn't ever make her bed because she's a child. And as a child, she has no grip on reality. Like young Atreyu staring at the luck dragon staring back and screaming, Atreyu! That reality is fake. And so is the reality that AOC lives in. A world where she believes that Republican congressmen would possibly shoot her. That's why she said she didn't go to Biden's inauguration, because Republicans might shoot her. Folks, this person, this young girl, she has no grip on adulthood, responsibility, ownership, or reality. The fact that she can breathe on her own, change her underwear, and even wipe properly is beyond me. Folks, we have a couple minutes coming up of doing nothing but hating on AOC and her ridiculousness. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. You're watching the American Reveille podcast or listening. Thank you to all the listeners. Actually, to tell you the truth, the listeners right now are carrying this show because people are not seeing this in their feed. That's right, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, I have been shadow banned, which means sometimes you'll see my shows, sometimes you won't. The thousands of views we have been receiving have gone down into the low hundreds, but that's okay. We have a plan. Don't you worry about it, ladies and gentlemen, because the street teams are forming and the new stuff is on the way. And you'll hear more about that soon. But if you're interested, if you're passionate, if you love what I do here and you want to be a part of spreading the message, if you want some special perks that are going to become very evident in the near future, send me an email directly, jameslane@AmericanReveille.com. jameslane@AmericanReveille.com. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, please like, please share, please comment, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you're listening. We're on Rumble. Remember that. Go watch us on Rumble, American Reveille. They are American_Reveille. It's one of those. We're all over the place. Just look for us. Search for us. REVEILLE. And remember, don't stop talking about us. Folks, I appreciate you, and we're about to get into this. I just have to say, before we start reading this, that AOC is a ridiculous human being. She has no idea about policy or anything like that, and we know that. We know that. But beyond that, she is an emotionally unstable human being. This is a woman, and it's no knock against women. And, you know, in fact, calling her a woman is a knock against women. So this child, God, calling her a child is a knock against child. I know. This socialist scum, this bartender, and oh God, I don't even want to offend the bartenders. I'm so sorry, bartenders out there, that I said AOC is a bartender. AOC is not a bartender. In fact, I think the perfect place for her might be Congress, because as a dirty, disgusting, downright dastardly, scoundrelesque succubus, I'm absolutely sure. I worked in the bar business too. This one belongs right where the most disgusting, heinous, and poisonous human beings that walk the face of this earth exist. And that is in the halls of Congress. Now, these people, they live their lives disgustingly, and we know this. We know that a lot of them, a lot of the old guard at least, we have a lot of new players in the game doing the right thing, or trying to at least, but the old guard, whether it's right or left, they all think the same of you. And AOC, she just wants to be on the cover of magazines wearing fancy jewelry and expensive dresses. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about you. All she cares about is getting some free stuff. And her promise to you? More free stuff. But folks, that free stuff costs money. And AOC has no concept about how that works. And if she even thought about it for a second, it would be like a poof, a little glinting thought, and it would poof, just disappear into oblivion because she's too busy off of her medicine and worrying, literally worrying about Republicans shooting her at the Biden inauguration sham fiasco. All right. Watch. Look at this. I'm not going to show you the video. I'm going to read through it. We're going to laugh at AOC a little bit, but look at this. This is Gateway Pundit coming from Cassandra Fairbanks. Hi, Cassandra. Published January 22nd. Watch. AOC claims she didn't attend Biden's inauguration because she's scared of Republican congressmen. My God, we're so evil. Everybody on the right, we're such evil bastards. Damn. AOC, you're an idiot. Shut your giant mouth. Shut it. Just shut it. Shut it for just don't speak anymore. And you might get, I don't even know how you get I know how you get reelected. You give people free stuff and you screw with social media. I know. I get it. Jack Dorsey, all them, they love you. They love you because eventually, if we turn to socialism, they'll get a paycheck forever. And they'll never have to worry about their companies falling apart ever again. Folks, it's time to read. It's time to read. Socialist Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez claims, and you got to give me props for that, claims that she skipped Joe Biden's inauguration because she doesn't feel safe around Republicans. The lawmaker made the claim in an interview with Communist News Network on Thursday. Folks, you knew that people would ask why you weren't there. CNN host Chris Cuomo began, that's another one of those. That's such a gross human being, Chris Cuomo. And he gets away. He'll like challenge to fight. I wish Chris Cuomo would challenge me to a gentlemanly fight. A gentlemanly fight, something legally sanctioned. I'd box him. This was a good cause from your perspective of dealing with your constituency, but this was supposed to be a show of force and unity, and you weren't there. Explain it. Look at that left just eating each other alive. GOP lawmakers campaigned with images of them cocking guns next to photos of myself. Now they're trying to violate DC law and House rules to sneak guns onto the floor 2 weeks after a white supremacist insurrection that killed 5 people. She's out of her mind, folks. First off, remember, and that's something I need to write, like right now. We should be writing the woke dictionary. All right, so that you can all have a handbook as to understand what they actually mean. When they say white supremacy, I want you to understand that the left has a very different definition because they're on a different ideology. They're using a different textbook. See the skin right here, the skin color? That is not what white supremacy means to them. That is not the definition. White supremacy are people that don't agree with their idea of equity, their idea that everybody should start at the same place, live by the exact same rules, be happy with the exact same stuff, and shut the hell up. That's what they are saying. If you don't agree with that, that's you're a white supremacist. That's why they can call black people white supremacists and Mexicans and Spaniards and Latin Americans of all different flavors, Puerto Ricans. I'm just naming a bunch of Latin Americans. They say it to Filipinos too. Filipino Americans. They say it to Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, any flavor of any human being that lives in this country. If you don't agree with the socialist ideology of equity, you are a white supremacist. So because they were a mix of Antifa instigators, Black Lives Matter instigators, and far-right extremists. Look, there were some far-right idiots there, all right? There are far-right idiots just as if there are far-left idiots. They both exist. They both exist. You know it. But the majority of us, 99.9% of us, are good, hardworking Americans just trying to do the right thing, feed our families, and have a good life, pursue our version of happiness. And they are treading all over it, manipulating words, ladies and gentlemen. Next comes something even more sinister. We have to keep our eyes open. But those sinister things, they're not going to come from people like AOC. She might be shrieking, but she is just a cover for the dirtier people on the planet. The people with the plans, the people with the brains. No, she's just a pawn. She's just a foot soldier, ladies and gentlemen, just a foot soldier. Quote, yeah, I think we had very real security concerns as well. And you mentioned that earlier. Ocasio-Cortez said we still don't yet feel safe around other members of Congress. And then Cuomo interjects. He goes, how many are we? A lot of members don't feel safe. In fact, just today, nobody respects AOC. Cuomo again cuts her off. You really think that colleagues of yours in Congress may do you dirty? He talks like this so he can connect with the New York implants that spread their democracy flavor agenda all over, even though it's not actually democracy. The former bartender went on to specifically call out Maryland Rep. Andy Harris, who attempted to practice his Second Amendment right. Yes, well, one just tried to bring a gun on the floor of the House today, she responded. I believe it was Rep. Andy Harris of Maryland. He tried to bring a gun onto the House floor. For individuals who don't know, guns aren't allowed in the District of Columbia. It's not allowed. We all have to follow the rules, and certainly the House floor there's a separate House rules that prohibit the bringing. I have to read it like this because she's an idiot. I'm sorry. All right, I'll read the rest of it right. Okay, I'll read the rest of it. Okay, I was just doing that for a little levity, but it was getting annoying. Listen, now these are rules that date back to the Civil War, and these are individuals that are trying to sneak firearms either illegally or in direct violation of House rules. Why does a member of Congress need to sneak a gun onto the House floor? They need to sneak a gun onto the House floor because leftist extremists pose a greater threat to this country than any right-wing crazy on the planet. There are a few people in our party that are idiots. There are idiots everywhere. There are idiots. There are idiot white people, idiot black people, idiot Spanish people, idiot Asian American, idiot everybody. Idiots everywhere. All right. And there's smart people too. All right. So don't lump the smart people, the 99.9% of Trump supporters that are good, hardworking Americans. Don't lump them in with a couple of idiots. And if you really want to know why a member of Congress needs to sneak a gun onto the House floor, why don't you take a look over here in Seattle or down to Portland? Why don't you take a look while Antifa, your puppet Black Lives Matter members are destroying the windows, breaking the windows, and attacking, vandalizing your Democrat buildings, while the new press secretary pretends it isn't happening. Folks, we know that there's going to be double standards, but when idiots like AOC open their mouth and breathe fresh air, everything they exhale just poisons this country even more. Take a look at AOC. This is somebody who never expected to win and will never, ever respect our country or its values because she never did in the first place. And that's unacceptable for any member of our government. Folks, I appreciate you going through this with me. Thank you for watching. We're going to make some more content. We're going to get some more stuff done. We got some business proposals, some business plans, looking out for those investors, doing everything we can to make the American Reveille grow, as Rita Repulsa from the Power Rangers once said. So, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you want to support us, head over to www.AmericanReveille, REVEILLE.com. Hit the support us tab. We appreciate your help. If you want to sign up to the mailing list, we really need your help there. It's how we're communicating right now with social media down. www.AmericanReveille.com. There's a newsletter right there. Sign up. If that doesn't work for you, email me directly, JamesLane@AmericanReveille.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, and thank you for watching that clip. Folks, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much that we're going to be going old school and finding ways to hit the street in a town or city near you. What do I mean by hit the street? I mean street team, folks. Old school 90s lanyards, pamphlets, stickers, and there's going to be a special surprise for all those who participate. Folks, if you want early in to what you're hearing, if you want to know more about what I'm talking about there, do me a favor, email me directly, James Lane at AmericanReveille.com. That's James Lane at AmericanReveille.com. There's going to be a very, very special secret benefit to those who want to participate. Besides that, head to the website. You see it right there on the screen, www.americanreveille.com. That's www.americanreveille.com. You see that big green button? It says sign up. Hit that button, folks. Sign up for the American Reveille newsletter. Sign up for Project Underground Railroad. What this is going to do is, while Parler's down, while everything's a fritz, while people don't know what up is and what down is, what left is and what right is, I'm going to give you some daily updates, keep your mind in the right track, the right frame, keep you headed in the right direction, and update you on how we are organizing, working together, and building a coalition of like-minded individuals. Folks, big things are coming, and they are going to be magnificent, and I want you to be a part of them. So please, please, please keep informed. Sign up for the newsletter at www.americanreveille.com. If you're still with me, if you still want to help out, do me another great favor. Head over to Rumble, folks, www.rumble.com, and find me there, American Reveille. The name itself is American Reveille put together on the channel. So American, R-E-V-E-I-L-L-E, if you search for it. One word, all right? American Reveille. And subscribe there. We're trying to build a base there. We're trying to get off YouTube and some of the other places that are cutting our distribution. We've already been shadow banned off of Facebook, off of Twitter, off of everywhere else. But folks, I'm not some kid. I'm not some quitter. I'm one of you. I'm a blue-collar, white-knuckle American, a calloused hand, hard-working SOB. And they ain't gonna kill me off of that easy, folks. So we're gonna go old school, like I said, and we're gonna have more news about that coming very, very soon. Again, thank you so much for watching that great clip, and make sure you tune in next time. Bye.